Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Lorosportspod and WUSports Center with Matt Bridgewater and Loro Antonio here with you guys every Wednesday throughout the football season and also onward. Matt, how are you doing today? And we got a great show ahead of us today.
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing well. So, anyways, let's get started here. So, we'll also be talking about some baseball stuff as well. So, let's start things off with the NFL. So, let's talk about our week one recap. What was your biggest takeaway of week one? One game that really stood out to you?
Oh, there were a lot. It's tough to narrow it down to just one here. Let's see. I'll say there were. I think. Let me start by saying which one for you? Give me a minute to think about it, and if you want to go first.
Yeah, I'll go first. So
Okay.
basically, in week one, I liked the Buccaneers and Cowboys game. We're going to talk about a controversial play that happened, no OPI on Chris Godwin. And then also, I liked Mac Jones going up against Tua Tagovailoa on Sunday. And then the Matthew Stafford's LA Ram debut. And then, of course, the Monday night thriller in Las Vegas.
That was a good one. I think there were a lot of very cool games. We're going to be talking about them here in a bit. I think the most interesting, though, was the Arizona Cardinals smashing the Tennessee Titans in Nashville. I thought that was pretty surprising. I did not see that one coming. And I think it's going to have the most long-term impact. I think with Arizona, along with the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Niners, are all 1-0 in that division. And I had Arizona. They were my dark horse team to make a run this year, and they looked really good though in that first game. I thought too that Green Bay getting pounded. I think that's just a weird fluky loss. I don't anticipate that's going to hurt Green Bay going forward. But that's something to keep an eye on is what happened in that game. And I was also surprised to see the Eagles just clobber the Falcons in that first game as well. That was another blowout that I was kind of mesmerized with. I've not been high on the Eagles or Coach Sirianni this offseason, but they looked really good. What can you say? They did really good. And I think, too, a couple of worrisome spots here. I would say that the Bills looked kind of bad. It's week one, but a little bit of a question mark there, I think, with the Bills going forward. We'll have to see what they do here in week two. And the other thing I would say is, as good as the Rams looked on Sunday night, and they did look really good, got to be careful about that running game. I think the running game only had less than 100 yards or something along those lines. It didn't really look that great. So something to keep an eye on with the Rams moving forward. But, yeah, just a great week.
It is a great week, but also let's talk about some controversial play calls. So did you think Chris Godwin should have been called for offensive pass interference?
That was close. Personally, I think they usually make that call. They didn't in that situation. So I'll leave it at that they usually make the call, and they didn't. What about you?
It was hard to tell, to be honest. It's because, it was the reason why I say that, it was too hard to tell just because it was because of the evidence of the call, I mean, I didn't think Godwin pushed off. It was just hard to tell, but I thought that if you looked at it, Tampa Bay is going to be very good. But the Cowboys, Dak Prescott looked great offensively, looked great, led the Cowboys to a near game-winning drive. But I think that Dak Prescott's going to keep them in the NFC East race, but the defense still remains a question mark.
Yes, it does. Yeah, I agree. Very much so. They looked really good on offense. They looked much better on offense than what I thought they were going to look like.
What was your thoughts on the Raiders and Ravens Monday night thriller?
Wow, yeah, instant classic. Just a really good game. Although it was good because of some goofy plays. I mean, at the end of the fourth quarter there in overtime, it was just there were mistakes on both sides that were kind of blatant, that made it a good game. So, but doesn't matter. Week 1, I will take that. That was a great start to Monday Night Football.
Sure was. So anyways, let's talk about some Week 2 games. So in our Week 2 picks, so tomorrow night, the first Thursday night game of the season. As last week, it was somewhat of a Thursday night game, but it was called a kickoff special. So tomorrow will be the first Thursday night game on the NFL Network, and it will be with the Fox production crew. The Washington football team will take on the New York Giants in Landover, Maryland. Kind of having a hard time with this pick here, but I'm going to pick the New York Giants to win this game just because I support Bill Belichick's former assistants. Joe Judge is the head coach of the Giants. But my only concern about the Giants is protecting Daniel Jones and the defense. So I think if the Giants were to win this game, it's going to be because Daniel Jones is going to be throwing the ball a lot, and Saquon's going to score at least 2 or 3 touchdowns and get a lot of touches on the football. So that's why I picked the New York Giants to win tomorrow.
I'm going to go with the Washington football team. Oh, are the Giants? Is that your upset special?
Not really. It's not my upset special.
Okay, yeah.
The reason why I say that is because the NFC East is so bad.
Yeah.
Any team can keep up. Any team can win that division with a losing record. But if there is a team that would have a winning record, it would be the Cowboys and the Washington football team.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Washington football team on this. I think that, with that, Heineke he's a more mobile quarterback. So I'm not too concerned at the quarterback position after they lost Fitzpatrick for about 6 to 8 weeks, it looks like. But I think that, their defensive line didn't look overpowering against the Chargers last week, but that was largely because Rashawn Slater is an absolute stud, and he can handle Chase Young. And Herbert was just really, really good at getting the ball out of his hands. Like, he was quick. So that negated the Washington pass rush quite a bit. But the Chargers still barely won, and I think it's I think with Washington football team, you're going to see another good, gritty defensive performance, especially against the Giants' offensive line. Saquon Barkley's banged up. I think this could be a long offensive day for Daniel Jones, and I think Washington football team gets a win.
Yeah, so I think I wouldn't be shocked if the Washington football team gets the win because of their defensive line. But I think that it's probably going to be a great game tomorrow. So let's go now to our Sunday slate. So we'll start with the Patriots playing the New York Jets. Looking forward to seeing the number 15 pick in the 2021 draft and Mac Jones go up against the number 2 pick in the 2021 draft and Zach Wilson. So this one is my lock of the week. And I'm going to say the Patriots win this one pretty much handily, but it could be a close game because Patriots-Jets games are very, very close and very, very intense. Who is your pick to win between the Patriots and Jets on Sunday?
I am going with the Patriots as well. I have nothing really to add there. I think they get the win, though.
What was your thoughts on Mac Jones' first game in the NFL?
Very good. I thought he looked good. That Miami defense is very good, and I think he handled himself very well out there.
He sure did. And then Zach Wilson is a guy that does have potential. He kind of reminds me of how when Josh Allen was a rookie in the NFL.
Yeah.
So he comes from a small school, BYU, and I think Zach Wilson's going to be very good.
All right.
But he did have a good game last week. He was good in the second half, but the Panthers just still beat the Jets handily. So the Bills take on the Dolphins. This one's my upset special of this week. And I say the Miami Dolphins go to a surprising 2-0 start against the Bills because from what I saw when I saw Miami play the Patriots, my team last week, their offense looked solid. Their defense can find a way to get to Josh Allen. So that's why I think the Miami Dolphins are going to come out on top.
Okay. Uh, let's see. This is going to be a close one. And I'm going to have to go with the Bills. I think the Bills still find a way to get the W here. I don't think they go to 0-2 on the season. Tough start for the Bills, though. And I still don't have enough faith in Tua to be regularly betting on the Dolphins here. But I'm going to have to go with the Bills.
I mean, Tua's great. I mean, he's got Jalen Waddle. He got the touchdown, credit him for that last week in New England. But I think the Dolphins are going to have a good team this year. So anyways, the 49ers are playing the Eagles. So talk about that game last week. The 49ers almost blew it. Dan Campbell makes his teams play hard no matter what. And it shows me that when the Lions almost came back, Dan Campbell proves to be the right coach in Detroit.
Yes, I think that they didn't give up. I was happy to see that, even though they got clobbered at the beginning. But, I think they're going to do really well. The Lions rest of the season, at least, they're not going to win that many games, but I think they're going to have a lot of fight in them. In this 49ers-Eagles game, I'm going with the 49ers. I think that the Eagles come crashing back down to earth. And I think the 49ers get a good road win here.
I'm going to pick the Philadelphia Eagles to win. I think Jalen Hurts had a great first game. I think he's going to torch that 49ers defense because the 49ers don't do well against running quarterbacks, though. But I'm not going to overlook that healthy defensive line with Nick Bosa and company,
Yeah.
So that's why I'm picking the Eagles to win.
Okay.
So anyways, let's move on and talk about the LA Rams taking on the Colts. So I'm going to go first on this one. I think Matthew Stafford continues the momentum, and I think the LA Rams beat the Colts. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm not going to underestimate Carson Wentz, but if the Colts go 0-2, I think they can overcome that easily.
Yep, I'm going with the Rams as well. I think that, the Colts in that first game, their defense looked really suspicious, and I thought it was going to be a lot better than that. So, I'm going with the Rams as well.
And then let's talk about the Raiders versus the Steelers. So the Steelers, you can't count out the Steelers because of their defense, but I still don't have faith in Ben Roethlisberger. But on the Raiders side of things, you don't want to underestimate Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs, but I'm going to pick the Raiders to beat the Steelers, and I think the Raiders are going to shock the world and go 2-0.
Wow. I'm going to go with the Steelers in this one. I think the Steelers keep up the momentum, and they looked good. I think the Steelers look like a team that's going to start off strong at least. The Raiders, I think they had a good win. I think it was kind of fluky the whole game against the Ravens, and I think they come back down to earth here.
And is it because you think the Steelers' defense can stop the Raiders' high-powered offense?
Yeah.
I mean, the reason why I say that because the Raiders' defense was off to a great start this season. It's going to be about if the Raiders' defense can sustain that momentum and success heading into the upcoming weeks of the season. I just don't want to see them falter like they did last year. Because now that they have Gus Bradley as their defensive coordinator, he's going to make you play hard.
Yeah.
So anyways, now let's talk about the Bengals and Bears. So last week, the Cincinnati Bengals beat the Vikings in like a close game. I mean, Joe Burrow had a great first game back. Jamar Chase is now their number one receiver. But I think the Bengals defense remains a concern. But I think both teams are going to be pretty bad this season. So I'm going to say the Cincinnati Bengals beat the Bears and go off to a shocking 2-0 start. I think the Bears go to an 0-2 start. And I say that because Matt Nagy has not done a good job handling the quarterback situation in Chicago. And I think the reason why I say that is because that's probably going to cost him his job.
Yeah, they have two coaches on the hot seat going at it. This is a really tough one, I think. I'm gonna have to go with the Bengals with a shocking upset in Soldier Field. I'm going to go with and the Bengals go 2-0, a very surprising 2-0 team here.
And my question for you is, Do you think the Bears should start Justin Fields now? Like, he played pretty good in his first game in the NFL, but I'm like, he should start that game against the Rams, not Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton did not look good.
Yeah, I still think I think that Andy Dalton looked a little bit better, maybe. I mean, he didn't look great at all, but I think he still gives them the best chance to win. So I'm going to go with. So I think they still start Andy Dalton.
Yeah, we'll have to see about that. So, anyways, the Texans take on the Browns. So I'm kind of surprised that the Texans beat the Jags, and you and I underestimated the Texans because they were going up against a hyped-up rookie and Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. Did you have any takeaways in that game?
I think that my main takeaway is what's up with if Urban Meyer can't win that game, what's the rest of the season going to look like for him and Trevor Lawrence? Like, Trevor Lawrence and Urban were both really humbled. That's my takeaway. Welcome to the NFL to both of them.
And did you think that the Jags? Did you think the Jags could have won that game? But the Jags defense still remains an issue. But Trevor Lawrence had an okay game, but it could have been better in that.
Yeah.
In last week's game in Houston, but Tyrod Taylor could definitely win you some ball games, but still the Texans are still a mess. So I picked the Browns to beat the Texans.
Yeah, I do too.
So
it's my lock of the week, Browns.
And then now let's talk about the Saints taking on the Panthers. So Sam Darnold got revenge against his old team. And would you be shocked if the Panthers went off to a 2-0 start?
I wouldn't be shocked with a healthy McCaffrey. It's going to be kind of a lethal combination there. And I think, the Saints are overcoming, though, a lot of odds with, the hurricane and all that and playing in Jacksonville in the first game. Now they have like eight people, mostly coaches with COVID, it looks like. But they find ways to win. And I'm going to go with the Saints keep it going, and I think the Saints get a win.
I'm going to pick the Saints too. I mean, I think the reason why they're going to win this game, their defense still looks strong, but Jameis Winston looks good so far. Is it too early to say that he is having a resurgent season?
Yeah, it's too early, but he had a great first game.
Yeah, it looked promising, but we're going to have to wait and see how he does. I think he's better off with Sean Payton as his head coach than he was in Tampa, because when he was in Tampa, he made a lot of costly turnovers, interceptions, but he did have the weapons to be good in Tampa, but he just wasn't consistent.
Yeah.
So that's why I picked the New Orleans Saints to win. So anyways, now let's talk about the Vikings taking on the Cardinals here. So I think that the Vikings, I don't trust them early in the season. I don't trust Kirk Cousins winning the big games, especially last week he choked. So I'm going to pick the Arizona Cardinals to keep it going with a 2-0 start.
Okay.
And who are you going to pick and why?
Which game is this?
The Minnesota Vikings playing the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, I'm going with the Cardinals.
And is it because you think that the air raid offense will continue to be a success in the early part of the season?
Yeah, I think so.
So anyways, now this game is probably not much to talk about here. The Atlanta Falcons are taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but the positives is I'm looking forward to watching that game right after the Patriots play the Jets. So two elite quarterbacks still are going to go head-to-head, and Matt Ryan and Tom Brady. So anyways, with that being said, I'm going to pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win in a blowout. Don't be surprised if this game or the score is going to be a blowout by halftime.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a big win for the Buccaneers for sure.
And my question for you is, will Atlanta's defense continue to slaughter?
Yeah, I think they're going to sputter for quite a bit here.
But are you going to not underestimate that offense with Matt Ryan? I think if the Falcons want to get involved in this game, you got to make Kyle Pitts involved in this game.
For sure, absolutely.
because last time he was not involved. Calvin Ridley was involved. And I think that the Falcons, Arthur Smith's a great offensive coach, which I really think he's right for Atlanta, but I just think Atlanta's defense needs to be better.
Yeah.
So that's why they got blown out against the Eagles. They're probably going to get blown out again.
Yep.
So that's why I picked Tampa Bay to win by a lot. So now let's talk about the Titans taking on the Seahawks. So there's no way Tennessee's going to go 0-2. I'm going to pick the Tennessee Titans to beat the Seahawks in Seattle because Derrick Henry's going to run all over that defense. Ryan Tannehill did not have a great game last week, and I think Tennessee's offense is going to be the reason why they're going to win this game.
I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I think that they do drop the Titans to 0-2, and there'll be panic in Nashville.
And why do you think there will be panic in Nashville?
0-2 starts. I think they could get smoked again by Seattle. If you have two ugly losses to start the season, that could be tough to overcome.
I think Tennessee's still going to be a good team if they start off 0-2, but I think that losing to Arizona is inexcusable for Tennessee. I didn't expect them to, but I still think Tennessee's offense is still going to be fun. With Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, and Julio Jones and A.J. Brown, their defense still remains a question mark.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this game. You're going to be at that game, Matt, and I know you're so excited to be at SoFi Stadium for your first regular season LA Chargers game against the Dallas Cowboys. I'm looking forward to that game, but I'm going to pick the LA Chargers to go off to a 2-0 start in the Brandon Staley era. What about you, Matt? You're at that game, and I can't wait to hear your takes on that game when you're at that game on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. First game at SoFi for the Chargers, and first regular season game with fans, I should say. And yeah, I'm picking the Chargers with a narrow win. It's gonna be a close one, I think. But I think the Chargers are gonna pull it off. I think they're gonna make the big plays late on defense and on offense, and I think they go to 2-0.
With Brandon Staley, I like him so far. I think he is way better than Anthony Lynn.
Yeah.
He's way better than Anthony Lynn because the Chargers needed a head coach that was a game manager, defensive-minded, but he was a former quarterback in college in a Division III school. I think Brandon Staley's the right fit to be the head coach of the LA Chargers. Way better than Anthony Lynn.
Yeah.
And how about Anthony Lynn with your team, the Detroit Lions? How has he fit as your offensive coordinator?
Well, I think he has his work cut out for him. They don't have any weapons as receivers. DeAndre Swift looks really good, and I think maybe under Anthony Lynn, you could see a pretty good running game for the Lions. Goff is going to have to check down a lot, but we'll see. They might need to open up their passing game quite a bit too. So we'll see what happens with them, but I think Anthony Lynn should improve that offense as the season goes on.
He should, absolutely. And then you have T.J. Hawkinson, who's going to have a breakout season. I think he's a big part of your passing game. I think that's Jared Goff's number one target in Detroit.
Yeah.
So anyways, now we're going to talk about the Lions and Packers game in just a minute here. So the Chiefs and the Ravens, that is going to be a fantastic Sunday night football game. I would pick the Ravens to win this game, but I'm too hesitant to pick them. So I'm going to pick the Kansas City Chiefs to go 2-0. And I think that Patrick Mahomes gets the better of Lamar Jackson again.
I think so, too. I think that both these teams didn't look great. Ravens obviously lost, and they're injury-prone right now, whereas the Chiefs needed kind of a comeback in the fourth quarter against the Browns. They didn't look that good either, but I think the Chiefs pull it out, and I think they go to 2-0.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes likes playing in September. So your thoughts on the Chiefs-Browns game? I was thinking, is Cleveland going to get their revenge on the Chiefs finally? But the Chiefs came back. But there's a lot to be proud of or be encouraged with the Browns and with the Chiefs. But I think Cleveland is going to still win the AFC North despite losing to Kansas City in Week 1. I kind of wish that game was more of a late season game than an early season game.
Yeah, we'll see.
And now to the Monday night game. Let's talk about both teams. Let's start with your Detroit Lions. So we talked about T.J. Hockenson being the main weapon for Jared Goff on that offense. You said DeAndre Swift looked good, but they're going to be facing another test in Lambeau Field. But the last time these two teams played on a Monday night, you could remember that controversial roughing the passer call and Trey Flowers, which should have been called for that. But I mean, there was a no call for that. Like there was like too many like holding penalties on there. But I think that but I'm gonna say that I think the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers gets a huge win against the Detroit Lions. I think it's gonna be a blowout. But I'm not gonna overlook Dan Campbell's coaching.
Yeah.
So who is your pick to win? And what are your thoughts on the Lions heading into their next game in Green Bay?
Yeah, I mean, Green Bay is coming off a bad loss, and they are upset. The Lions, I think, are going to be in for it. I don't see them winning any part of this game. So I think it's going to be a big Packer win.
Absolutely. And then tell me, what is your thoughts so far on Dan Campbell as the head coach of the Detroit Lions so far?
I like him. Yeah, I think he's a good guy. I think he's fun. I think the players like playing for him. That's all you can ask for right now at this point.
Yeah, he has ties with the Detroit Lions, and he used to play for the Lions as a tight end. And I think he's a tight end guru, and I think he's going to help T.J. Hockenson become an elite tight end. I think he's a guy that makes you play hard, especially on both ends of the football.
Yeah,
because I remember him. I remember him because he was the interim head coach for the Miami Dolphins, and then he was an assistant head coach for the New Orleans Saints. And he does have, and I think that Dan Campbell is the right coach for Detroit. But I just think that the front office is still a mess. I still think that this team has a long way to go to being good.
Yeah, I agree.
So, anyways, let's go on to college football. So, let's start with the Big 12 conference, officially adding BYU and UCF and Houston and Cincinnati to its conference. Do you like this move or do you hate this move?
What are the two schools again? BYU and what else?
UCF and Houston and Cincinnati are going to be going to the Big 12 conference.
Oh yeah, that's stupid. I mean, they're done as a major conference. It's as simple as that. I mean, you can't lose Oklahoma and Texas and bring in those four. I understand they have schools like Texas Tech and Iowa State and Oklahoma State and Kansas State and Kansas that, are, but they're not, none of those are really good football schools either. So, it's mediocre. It's not a major conference anymore.
I think the major conference is the Big Ten conference because you got your Michigan State Spartans and the SEC, the Pac-12, and the ACC. So let's go to USC. And actually, yesterday, you and I kind of talked about this. Let's rejoice and be glad. And I bet you a lot of people who attend USC are right now in front of the Coliseum throwing a party because they fired Clay Helton as their head coach. And when USC lost to Stanford in blow-up fashion, I just thought it's all on Clay Helton.
Yeah. Yeah. It's he's a good guy. He's a good family man. He's had some big wins there, but he just could not. Specifically keep USC at that competitive level that it expects to be at. So, yeah, you think that I think that right now there's some leading candidates like Eric Bieniemy. He could be brought in. They've already floated Urban Meyer's name. He's shot it down. I mean, that'd be so strange to leave Jacksonville for 1 year. But Urban Meyer is a guy that will float around, and if he has a particularly terrible season in Jacksonville, I could see him leaving after 1 year.
Maybe so. I don't think he'll leave after 1 year. So, anyways, my pick, honestly, to be the next head coach of USC. He used to play at USC. He's currently the Washington football team's defensive coordinator, and he did attend USC, and that is Jack Del Rio.
Yeah, yep.
And I want him to be the head coach of USC because he brings discipline and toughness to any football program, and he's very good at developing defenses. And I bet you a lot of recruits would want to play at USC because of Jack Del Rio, because Jack Del Rio's had somewhat of success in the NFL, and I think that Jack Del Rio will have success in the college level too.
Yeah, I think so. He'd be a good choice.
Is he right now your number one choice to be the next head coach at USC?
Uh-huh.
Or do you want to choose Eric Bieniemy?
I think I would say Eric Bieniemy.
He has been snubbed so many times for head coaching positions. He needs to be a head coach.
Yeah.
He's a great offensive coordinator, but a lot of people are saying, like in Kansas City, many times, does Eric Bieniemy call the plays for Mahomes? And people say no. It's Andy Reid that calls the offensive plays for Mahomes. And Andy Reid is the reason why Mahomes is a success story.
Yeah, I think we'll see. Bieniemy needs a shot to see. We need to figure out if he can coach or not. I think it should be at USC.
And you think if Bieniemy's as the head coach elsewhere, you think Andy Reid will be the primary offensive play caller?
Yes, I think so.
And I think he's done a good job calling plays for Mahomes. And I don't think Mahomes will regress when Bieniemy leaves, just because when an offensive coordinator leaves, I think Andy Reid right now is right now the main play caller in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And he's still and I think he's great in that role as a play caller on offense. So anyways, with that being said here, let's talk about the NBA before we talk about the Dodgers in just a minute here. As the Dodgers and the Giants both have clinched playoff spots. We'll get to that in just a minute here. So the Lakers signed DeAndre Jordan. They have traded Marc Gasol to the Memphis Grizzlies, but they're going to actually buy him out. Did the Lakers make the right move by swapping Marc Gasol for DeAndre Jordan?
Yes. I think they're swapping Marc Gasol for DeAndre Jordan, you said, right?
Marc Gasol's been traded to the Grizzlies in exchange for the draft rights for Wang Zhalin, the center out of China.
Oh, okay.
The Lakers got in return. And then DeAndre Jordan was a Piston. He was on your team for one day, and then you guys bought him out.
Yep. And now he's with the Lakers?
Yes.
Well, those are improvements, I think, for the Lakers. Yeah.
They were, but also I think the Grizzlies are probably going to buy out Marc Gasol just because I think that the Grizzlies are going to be a great young team. I'll tell you that.
Yes, I agree.
I think they're an up-and-coming team in the West. But I think the Lakers roster with DeAndre Jordan is going to be slightly better, but I think that Dwight Howard should be starting at center for the Lakers.
Yeah, I think so too.
And let's also talk about some Dodgers news right here in baseball. So the Dodgers have clinched a playoff berth yesterday, and so did the Giants. So with that being said here, do you think the Dodgers still have a shot at winning the National League West?
I don't think it's going to happen. Do they have a shot? Yes. Giants just don't lose. They're not losing. And I think they're running out of time now.
And why do you think the Dodgers are running out of time right now?
Well, there's only like 15 days left, and they simply I don't think they're going to be able to catch the Giants this way. They don't play each other anymore, so.
Well, if you look at it here, the Dodgers play the Reds, then they play the Rockies, and then they play the Arizona Diamondbacks, then the Padres and the Brewers. So I think the toughest part of the schedule will be towards the end of the season for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And for the Giants, they just can't seem to lose games. So are you thinking time is running out for the Dodgers to win the win the division?
Yes, I definitely think so. Yep.
Well, the Giants play the Padres, and then they play the Braves, and then they play the Padres again. Then they play the Rockies and the Diamondbacks, and then the Padres again. So that is somewhat of a kind of a weird ending. But I think both the Dodgers and Giants have easier schedules down the stretch. But I think the Dodgers are doing. I think the Dodgers. So do you think the Dodgers will probably be hosting that one-game wild card round? So if they do host it, and assuming if they do you think they win that game?
Yes. Oh yeah, they'll win that game.
If they play like the Padres or the Cardinals, or if they play the Reds?
Either they'll beat either team.
And then they'll play the Giants in the NLDS.
Yes. Yep.
So they would have to start in San Francisco if that were to happen. But my takeaways is this: like, if the Dodgers don't win the division, it's about getting healthy and also sustaining a long run. Just because in the past, wild card teams have won World Series, so the Dodgers could be that.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Because the Nationals did it in 2019, the Giants have did it in 2014. So basically, any team can. It doesn't have to be a division winner that wins the World Series. It could be a wild card team that comes out on top.
Yeah.
And I think the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers can definitely be favored in these series. So basically, I don't think time's running out. I think, honestly, in my opinion, the Dodgers still have time to catch the Giants. And I'm just hoping that the Giants can lose some games, but it doesn't surprise me that they keep winning ball games.
Yeah, I know. I think they're gonna lose in the playoffs, though.
Who do you think the Giants lose to in the playoffs? Because we haven't made our playoff bracket yet. We're gonna have to do that when the league sets its playoff brackets.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers will still go to the World Series.
Absolutely, I still think they will, but they're going to be starting on the road though.
Yeah,
but I still think that they'll find a way to win in front of their home crowd. You know.
Right.
So, anyways, let's talk about your Detroit Tigers. So, basically, you guys surprisingly have been keeping up in the American League Central, 70-76. But the White Sox are a clear runaway for this. So, any players that you've liked down the stretch, and you think that there's going to be a lot of good newbies coming up next year for your Detroit Tigers?
Yeah. I think there'll be a lot of prospects coming up, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of them. And I think they're going to do very well.
Yeah, like I'm looking forward to seeing Spencer Torkelson make his major league debut sometime next year.
Yeah,
and I think he's going to be good. I think Manning, I'm talking about Manning or something like that. One of your young up and coming pitchers coming up, who's going to be very good. Gregory Soto. He's going to be an elite closer. I think you're going to build that next winning team with Gregory Soto. And also, do you think Miguel Cabrera is going to stay for another year or two to help with the transition with the Detroit Tigers?
Yeah, I think he's going to stay around for one more year.
Yeah, when he retires, I think he's going to go into the Hall in Cooperstown as a member of the Tigers.
Me too.
So anyways, Matt, so next week we'll be back here next Wednesday at noon for our Week 3 preview, Week 2 recap, and some more Dodger talk and college football stuff. So, Matt, have a great rest of your day. And for everybody out there, thanks for listening.